Hello everybody, Namaskar everyone. This series of talks that I'm going to record around the core of Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma, that I have understood in my 50 years of life, how I've come to practice it, my personal journey of being a Hindu, and at least for the last 10 years, I've been a serious seeker of truth within Hindu parlance. So this series of talk I'm going to record about what I've seen, what I've learned, what I've felt, what I have experienced, and my personal journey of being a sort of a trying to understand who am I. So if you're not interested in this, what I call a very abstract or sort of a deep thought around the spiritual life, then probably you should shut off this video. It's not for you. And second thing is, it's not going to be purely in English. I'm going to switch between Hindi and English. And the primary reason being, English has half the number of alphabets as Sanskrit and Hindi Devanagari script. So the language that describes some very subtle and abstract concepts in Hindi, you can't find an alternative word for it in English. It's just Sanskrit and Hindi and Devanagari is too rich of a language, and there are a lot of very subtle definition of a lot of concepts and things that you just can't find the word in English, and there is no point in sort of trying to masquerade the truth or fact or feelings that I want to express. So I might be switching between Hindi and English. This talk today is probably just going to be a little bit of laying the overall context for this series of discussion. It's going to be very non-political. I do record a lot of political commentary as well, analysis and observations, but this one is going to be a sort of my personal experience with what I have come to feel, realize, experience as a Hindu and as a Sanatani, living being. तो जो भी आपसे शेयर करेंगे वो जो जाना है वही शेयर होगा. So you will find that there might not be very, sort of very specific academic sort of a ring to these talks. It's going to be very conversational, as if we are sitting around a fireside and chit-chatting away, which is how the knowledge was really truly transferred in India from ancient times to now. All of you must have heard the Upanishad. Upa in Devanagari and Sanskrit basically means sitting close to the teacher. So Upanishad is knowledge and wisdom in India, or the Indian culture and civilization, was never really that you can read and understand. It was always given by somebody who has experienced the wisdom. So in the West, जिसको ज्ञानी बोलते हैं, they stop at intellectual level. कि whatever you have come to understand logically in your mind, then you become an intellectual and you can start to talk about it. In this Indian subcontinent, the truth or the knowledge or wisdom, ज्ञान जिसको कहा जाता है, ज्ञान का भी शायद कोई इंग्लिश में सही वर्ड है नहीं. I don't think there is a word that captures the essence of ज्ञान. ज्ञानी or the knower, knower comes close to, but ज्ञानी is one who has experienced the truth. And experiencing the truth, जिसको साक्षात कहा जाता है, जिसको आपने कहा जाता है कि आपने वो स्वयं सत्य को जाना है, जिया है, is very different than knowing the truth. Knowing could be a bookish version. Lot of people, they have memorized Ramayana by heart. They have known Ramayana, but have they experienced the wisdom of Ramayana? No. It can only be done when you have become one with the knowledge. Then you have become jnani. When you have become one with the knowledge, you have become jnani, then you start to live the jnana. Then ज्ञान का साक्षात हो जाता है. ज्ञान comes to live. इसीलिए ब्रह्म सूत्रों में एक वाक्य है प्रज्ञानम ब्रह्म, जिसमें कहा गया है कि ज्ञान ही ब्रह्म है. So these are just, I'm just laying the context, so I'm not getting into specifics, but you get the gist of it. कि ज्ञान, knowledge, wisdom. I'm going to be using these three in sort of interchangeably, but Gyan is the ultimate word I want to use again and again. So knowledge and wisdom is sort of at a lower rung of this ladder of knowledge or wisdom, if you want to lay out. So a Gyani is one who lives the wisdom seamlessly without even thinking about it. Knowledge, a knowledgeable person is one who might be knowing the concept, but it doesn't show up in his day-to-day existence, life. And wisdom, I think, is just a subtle difference between knowledge and Gyani, where he's wise enough that he floats between the stage of knowing and the stage of living. And all these things don't happen because intentionally you want to be in those states. It just happens that, I'll give you an example कि जैसे आपने कोई खीर बनाई है और you have made some sweet, when it's little raw, you will taste it. When it's perfectly done, then you just know that it's done. There is no way of saying what degree of done it is. It's like you pick a mango from a tree. Either it's ripe, it's almost ripe, or it's going to get ripe. So you get the idea. And that's why when you sit close to a Gyani, you don't even have to have a discussion on a particular topic. Just as conversation flow, you just know that he is a realized master. So that's another term that's used in yogic parlance, or as somebody who's on the path of spirituality, that he's a realized master. It means he's become one with the knowledge. He has become one with the Gyan. He has become a yogi, and he has achieved that state of nirvana, जिसको बुद्धा ने कहा है. लेकिन निर्वाण का भी मतलब वही है कि जो संशय हैं, जो डाउट्स हैं आपके एग्जिस्टेंस के, whatever are your confusion of what life is, what existence is, who am I, somebody who has overcome those doubts, or somebody who has gone beyond the state of doubt. So that's just one sort of context I wanted to lay out. Second context you might want to sort of get a feeling of, that in the Sanatan civilization, in the Hindu civilization, and Hindu is a word that's coined very late. Sanatan is the right word, but I'll use the word Sanatan and Hindu interchangeably because a lot of people know Indian culture as Hindu culture or Hindu civilization. Again, India is a very new term that Britishers coined. You must know the story how Sindhu became Hindu and India became the land of India, or Hindus, sort of morphed word. But Bharat is the real word, and Bharat is a civilizational, it's a cultural entity. It's not so much geographic. It has come to be known geographic once the formation of nation states concept came in. Otherwise it was always Bharat or Hindustan, as people in Persia, in the Middle East, or used to be called. And Hindustan again comes from Hindustan, where Hindus live, the land of Hindus. And it was defined roughly as the boundary was Sindh River, which is now in Pakistan, and all the way up to Far East. So Hindustan, Bharat, India, but primarily it's Sanatan or Hindu or Bharat. These are the, so the Bharatiya culture, Bharatiya civilization or Hindu civilization, its primary objective with every action, every word, every deed, every, deep understanding of any natural phenomenon, abstract phenomenon, or a pursuit of knowledge is only one, which is to reach the point of singularity, which is to reach the point of non-duality. And now will come to what is singularity and what is non-duality. So for non-duality, the word that's used in Sanskrit and Hindu parlance is Advaita. Advaita literally means where there are no two. जहाँ पे दो ना हो, सिर्फ अच्छा जहाँ दो नहीं होंगे, where there are no two, what exists is just, you can't say. You can say it's one, but who's the knower of one? To know the one, there has to be two. So the word that's used is not two. And then whatever is left is just is. And what is left is, or what is now, is Satchidanand. And Satchidanand literally means that who am I? The answer that you should be able to live, breathe, exist in is Satchidanand. It means it has three different letters that have come together. Sat means truth, and truth is not English truth. Satya literally means something much, much more than the English letter truth, English word truth that it encapsulates. Truth is, oh, I'm telling you the truth, or I'm telling you. How do you know you're telling the truth? Do you know the truth? So Sat literally means, as what I have come to, is point of existence. Chit, Chetana, once again, people use the word consciousness for it, but if the word consciousness makes you feel comfortable, just live with the word consciousness. So you can say it's supreme truth, consciousness, supreme consciousness, and Anand literally means, I can't say if the word bliss captures it, but it's a point of absolutely when you're a state of supreme joy. So what exists really in which you see this whole phenomenon of existence is Satchidanand. And Satchidanand to me literally personifies the point of singularity, where non-duality, this which is the perfect state of being a non-dual, where you, creation, observer of the creation, and somebody who's feeling the creation is all just comes together as one. Now you must have, some of you guys who are into physics and all this, which I love to, is there's tremendous amount of research that's going on around the whole singularity. And I live close to Stanford, so there's a huge center of, physics that is, working on this whole idea of notion of singularity. And in the physics terms, it's almost going down to this the point of origin of this universe. From this whole thing exists, in which the Big Bang existed. So that is their model of describing and defining how the world came into existence. But the whole Sanatan Hindu Bharatiya Sabhyata and culture and civilizational, its thrive, its push, its deeper cultural notion and philosophical notion is to understand who am I, who are you. And it's almost like everything that you see in the physical world, if it starts to ask that question, the answer that everybody is going to get is going to be the same one, which is, I am Satchidanand. So every deed that a Hindu does, either knowingly or unknowingly, is basically marching towards the answer, marching towards to get the answer to the question, who am I? Now, I would say it very, very honestly, 99.99999% of Hindus and Bharatiya probably don't know this. It's probably just 0.000000001%. And those are the ones who, out of those very minuscule population, even out of those very, very, very minuscule one, will probably be able to literally realize that wisdom. और जिसको कहते हैं साक्षात्कार होगा उस सत्य का. सच्चिदानंद का साक्षात्कार क्या है कि जब आप सच्चिदानंद में विलीन हो जाएंगे. The whole purpose of life is to reach that notion of singularity while you are aware of this physical existence, or while you are in this physical existence. And it is called as the point of nirvana, as well as, in my parlance, a point of perfect death as well. So you literally, what happens in death? You give up your physical body, and your whatever micro consciousness that you have, that you think who you are currently, which is not true. You are not this body, but whatever is in this body that blends from where this body comes is the death. But if you can reach that point of existence while being alive, then you have literally embraced the death of imperfections with which you were living all along. Now, these imperfections were not in the existence. Existence is perfect. These imperfections were your imperfect knowledge or understanding of the existence. So death is nothing else but to merge with the Satchidanand, which is the perfect power supreme in every possible way. And if you can merge in him while you can enjoy this body as well, is a true yogi, is a true, a one who has literally become Krishna, who has become Ram, who has become Sai Baba, who has become Kabir, Meera, Jesus, Muhammad, and any one of these great beings. So the whole purpose of Hinduism is to make you realize that you are Satchidanand. Now, how do Hindus do it? They do it through every ritual in your waking state, in your sleeping state, is to consciously guide you towards realizing this truth that you are Satchidanand, to get you the answer to the question, who am I? That's the essence of Hinduism. A lot of people from the West, and even 99.999% Hindus who live in India, who go through all the fasting, all the pujas, all the paddhatis, all the yogas, everything that they do day in, day out, they really don't know why they are doing it. It's just, people just do it. Oh, Diwali comes, you celebrate Diwali. Holi comes, you celebrate Holi. Somebody gives them a lighter answer. Oh, it's a festival of spring. Color is coming, so you enjoy colors, which is fine. Not everybody is keen on getting the answer of who am I. So for them, the lighter explanations, the lighter answers justify their existence and letting them live in whatever partial state of bliss they want to live, and nothing wrong with that. But the deeper and the core essence of everything is to make you realize that what you're seeing, and whoever third person that's observing is all just one. And one of the very famous core Brahma Vakyas is Tat Tvamasi. Means Tat, what you see, Tvam, you, and me is all just one. Tat means that same Satchidanand ka Sat. That you and me are all one. Now, within this triangle of that, you and me, everything gets triangulated. Tree, me, and the one from which this tree comes, who's observing through me. And that in tree also there's a consciousness. Tree is probably enjoying your existence as well. It's all just one. Now, this must be mind-bending for some of you who haven't reached that state of Brahma Vakyas and explanations. But third piece, so that's one, this whole Satchidanand, the core why does Hinduism exist? What is it there for? And why is it called one of the oldest civilization? This word Sanatan literally means that it has been there since eternity and it will stay till eternity. Because if you think about what is the most important question that any sane person or a little bit evolved person would ask, is like, what is life? Why am I here? What am I doing? Why am I running around in this day and night, seasonal cycle, yearly cycle, annual cycle, take birth, die? What is this whole game for? What is this whole drama for? And every religion, and now I'm using the word religion very loosely, every spiritual philosophy, be it, there are only from two regions where most of the spiritual philosophies have come from. One is Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. They try to explain things in a certain way. And then there are these spiritual philosophies that have come out of India, which is primarily Sanatan, and then some offshoots of Sanatan that have come out of. Buddhism is nothing else but a small branch out of Sanatan. Jainism, once again. Sikhism, once again, is a small shoot of Sanatan. So for me, they're all just Sanatani, what I call. And there is not much of a difference between, even though you will find politically a lot of people are trying to create their own identity, and they want to show you that they are different than Hindus, or Buddhists show that they are different. But even Buddha was born in a Sanatani family. So all these, they come out of Sanatan root. So the spiritual philosophies come out of, Abrahamic religions out of what I call Jerusalem, and then Sanatani. In Sanatani philosophy, God does not exist outside of someone. He's not living in seventh sky or third sky and this and that. No. You are part of Him. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. You are Brahma. You are that. He exists through everything that you see. And when I use the word see, the one who's talking is Him as well. The one who's listening is Him as well. And you and I and everything around us is a manifestation of Him. And the knowledge of Him, the seeker, whatever he's seeking, and through what he's seeking, is all just one. That's the point of singularity. So the real Gyan, the real wisdom, the real knowledge is living in this state of supreme bliss, of non-dual existence, living with this unitary mind. The mind that has achieved the singularity becomes the unitary mind, ekatva. And again, it's the Sanskrit word ekatva. I don't know what would be the good translation of it in English would be, but unitary mind sort of comes to. Now mind again is not just what's in this coconut here. Mind again is the entire existence. And another context laying foundational pillar that comes to mind is, you are part of the whole. You are not separate from whole. That's why knowledge doesn't come from somewhere outside. It already exists in you. You just have to awaken it. And then again, some of you who must be into yoga and all, this Kundalini word is very popular. You have tons of YouTube videos. Say, oh, Kundalini Jagrat ho gayi. Kundalini is awaken. Kundalini already exists. Basically, the knowledge exists in you. And in you, every particle is part of this entire cosmic particle. So you have an element of everything, every element. You have piece of every element that exists in this cosmos. So you have the knowledge of everything within this body of 5 foot 8 inch, or you whatever 6 foot 8 inch that you might be. And when somebody says, oh, he has acquired the knowledge, you're not acquiring knowledge from outside. It already exists in you. You're diving deep in you, and you're awakening that knowledge, or you are come to know of it, that you are really getting acquainted with your true self. And on the path of this realizing Satchidanand, on the path of realizing unification, with the supreme truth, on the path of shedding your ignorance about who you truly are, on the path of becoming one with the non-dual core of yourself, every aspect of knowledge is going to get awakened in you. Every piece of whatever is true wisdom, whatever is true Gyan, you will become aware of it. So it's like if you have to drive from San Francisco to New York, you will come to know of every state that you are going to drive through. You will come to know the culture, food, and every weather pattern and every system that you will drive from San Francisco to New York. Same is when you're going from this real worldly ignorant existence and living and walking towards this unitary mind, or Satchidanand, or non-dual core of yourself, you will become aware of every other thing. Because you are the one, Tattvamasi, you are Brahma, you are, Aham Brahmasmi. And then Prajnanam Brahma is the one that takes you to that Tattvamasi realization. Aham Brahmasmi realization. Now, so that's just one rambling foundation I wanted to lay out. The other one, you might want to, sort of get aware of it, that what happens when you start to deeply ponder over this question. Now, how do you get your mind and your consciousness to walk towards the journey? That's when Hindu rituals and, puja, morning prayer, evening prayer, keeping upvas, fasting, celebrating festivals, everything else starts to come into being. And all this is to kind of get your mind to reorient itself, not to pursue external things all the time, but to make it inward bound a little bit. And when it will start to become inward bound, everything in Hinduism starts to become a tool to achieve that perfect bliss. So whether it's reading the Mahabharata and Ramayana and Upanishads and Vedas and Puranas, and I'll lay a separate video on, all this, should I call it, treasure trove of knowledge, how it's organized, how you should approach it. That's when all the mantras and meditation starts to come handy. That's when sitting at the feet of masters, the upa, starts to become critical. Tirth yatras, you go on pilgrimage. It's all part of that, to reorient yourself towards that inward journey. It's not to go and have picnic in Haridwar or Uttarakhand or Badrinath or Kedarnath. No, you're missing the point. The whole idea is all these things that you do with that, you want to awaken that knowledge in you. You want to become self-aware of who you truly are, and you want to walk this path of knowing your true self, which is Satchidananda, which is Aham Brahmasmi. And all these activities become part and parcel of yoga. Yoga is not about just putting your feet on top of your head and striking that pose and wearing Lululemon and making great pose and becoming fit and, creating that yoga circle and yoga group, and then going out to eat breakfast together on Sunday morning. Yoga literally means yoga, means uniting you with that supreme being, whoever you are. You are him, but in ignorance you think you're away, separate from him. So breaking that barrier of ignorance that you are separate from him is what yoga is. And everything in yoga these days is all Hindu, sort of, Tantra yoga or Mantra yoga, Kundalini yoga, the Hatha yoga, the Japa yoga, the meditation. These are the Ashtanga, the 8 paths of, becoming a yogi, is nothing else but 8 steps to get your mind stationed or, focused towards getting to realize your true self. That's what yoga means. And of course Patanjali, sort of laid it out in the classic Patanjali Yoga Sutras. So these are the few foundational things I wanted to lay out in this video, and then from tomorrow I'll start to probably describe each one of these topics in a little bit more detail as I have come to realize it, or as I have come to practice it, live it, and I'm very happy with it. The journey of sort of not so much as outward driven, but an inward driven. And what the journey feels like, and what has helped me, what I have come to understand and realize, and what I have read and how I have interpreted, and then unless and until it starts to come in your practice, the whole idea of becoming a true Hindu or Sanatani or yogi is where you live without any barrier, you live without any conflict in your mind, you live without any conflict in your heart, and you become just one with the existence. So I'll stop here. and then probably record my thoughts tomorrow again on subsequent topics.